Today, just imagine for a moment. Today, if you make a mistake, the worst you usually face is a fine or prison. But a few hundred years ago, one small mistake and the punishment was enough to make the soul tremble. Today, we will talk about the most brutal and terrifying punishments in the history of humanity. These stories are not told merely to scare you, but to show how merciless human laws once truly were. 1. The rack, stretching the body until it breaks. In Europe, there was a punishment known as the rack. A person was tied to a wooden frame and then, slowly, their arms and legs were pulled in opposite directions. At first, there was only pain. Then, bones began to crack, joints were torn apart, and often the victim would lose consciousness or die. And all of this was done for just one reason: to force the accused to confess. 2. Scaphism, handed over to insects while alive. Scaphism was an ancient Persian punishment. The victim was trapped between two wooden boats with only the head, hands, and feet exposed. They were force-fed milk and honey, causing the body to rot and attract insects. Then came the bugs, flies, ants, and other creatures. Slowly, the insects began eating the person alive. Death did not come quickly. Sometimes it took several days. 3. Blood eagle, death through the back. The blood eagle was a notorious Viking punishment. A cut was made across the victim's back. Then, the ribs were pulled outward, shaped like the wings of an eagle. Finally, the lungs were pulled out. The punishment was so horrifying that many victims died before the pain even reached its peak. Among the Vikings, this was considered an honorable death. 4. Lingchi, dying slowly. In China, there was a punishment called lingchi, also known as death by 1,000 cuts. The person was not killed instantly. Instead, small pieces of the body were cut away one by one. The executioner was careful to ensure the victim did not die too quickly. This punishment was not only about the crime, it was meant to serve as a public warning. 5. Public executions, death as entertainment. In the past, punishments were not carried out in secret. Crowds were gathered, even children were brought to watch, so everyone would be afraid. Some were hanged, some burned alive, some stoned to death. Death became entertainment. People clapped, ate food, and watched others die. 6. Iron Maiden, the iron coffin. The Iron Maiden was a metal chamber lined with sharp spikes inside. A person was locked inside. The door was closed. The spikes pierced the body, but in such a way that death was delayed. Sometimes, the victim remained alive for hours, experiencing nothing but pain. 7. Why did humans do this? The question is, why were humans so cruel? The answer is simple: fear, power, control. Rulers wanted people to stop questioning and start obeying. These punishments were not about justice, they were about spreading fear. Lesson: when we say today that life is difficult, look back for a moment. We are barely evolved, but at least now, the law is not as merciless. If this video made you think, like it and subscribe, because history is not just a story, it is a warning.